Hey, it's Jake, and today we're going to talk about why null objects are so useful in After Effects. Let's get started. Oh, that's good. Null objects are great. You can use them for all kinds of different things, but if you're new to After Effects or if you've never really used them, they might seem a little bit confusing. You might not know why you need them, what they're for, what they can actually do. I'll start by just making a null object by coming up to Layer, New Null Object, and we get this green box. I've got mine set up to be green, yours may be a different color, but as you can see, it has a bounding box and an anchor point just like any layer. I can click and drag it around. If I twirl open the layer, we have transform controls. It has parenting, blending modes, all of this stuff. So what exactly is a null object? Well, on its own, it's nothing. You can do absolutely whatever you want to it, and it's not going to affect anything in your scene, and it's not even going to render. If I preview my animation right now, see it just disappears. They're not meant to be seen, they're meant to control things. So if I were to maybe center this up inside of this box that I have here, I could parent the box to the null object and then move it around. And now it's controlling that box. Still not going to render, but because my box is parented to it, it's going to inherit all of the transform controls from it. But why would I ever want to do this? Don't I have transform controls right here on my layer? Well, sure, I do. And in some cases, it doesn't make sense to use a null object. But let me give you a scenario where it would. Let's say I want to animate this box flying in like it's being tossed off of a truck, hits the ground and rolls a couple times. Well, obviously this is a box, so I can't just rotate it and expect it to look right like it's rolling on the ground here on my ground plane. And it'd be really difficult if I were to like set a rotation keyframe and a position keyframe and then rotate it and then kind of like shift it up and then have to go forward a couple frames and then drag it back down, rotate it again. And it's just not easy to animate like that. And it's going to take a lot of time getting it to look like it's actually staying on the ground and moving the way that it should in the real world. Even though this illustration is a little cartoony, you still want it to behave kind of like it would in the real world, obey the laws of physics. You can exaggerate them for sure, but it's not going to look or feel right if you don't get this part right. So I'm going to undo, get rid of those keyframes, and approach this a little bit different way. First, let me just get this throw in. So I've separated my X and Y position dimensions just by right-clicking, saying separate dimensions. And I just want to have this kind of tossed in and land right around here, maybe not quite so far in. I'll set it right about there, and I'll set X and Y position keyframes, and then back it up to the front, and bring it up to maybe about here. Then go into my Y position graph editor, zoom in, and then modify my curve so that it's going to make my motion path up here look like it's being tossed. Just going to modify these handles until it's about where I want it. Nice smooth arc. Something like that, and let's play that. It's a little bit slower than I want, so I'll back these keyframes up. And I also want it to rotate. I don't want it to just stay flat like it is right now, so we'll maybe rotate it back a little bit. Set a keyframe by pressing Option or Alt R, and then at this point where it's going to come into contact with the ground, let's put it basically 90 degrees. And it's not exactly 90 degrees, you can see, because my box's edges aren't perfectly right angles. So I'll just level that out and then bring it up a little. So this is the edge it's gonna, land on. It's just gonna bam, flat right on the ground there. And maybe I won't have it rotate back quite as much. Okay, there we go. So we've got the box plopping in, and now I need it to roll. And I'm probably gonna have it roll maybe 2 times, maybe 3 times. And like I said, if I were to just try and animate the rotation of this layer from this point, maybe go forward a couple of frames, rotate it, I'm going to have this issue where the box is passing through the ground. So I'm going to have to, maybe have it end up here, push it forward. I've got this weird motion path happening. It's going to take some work to get all of this easing stuff sorted out. It's just not going to be a fun thing to do. Instead, I'm going to make a null object. So layer, new null object. And I'm going to name this rotation 1. What I want to do is line this anchor point up with where I want this box to rotate from, which would be the bottom right corner. I'm going to zoom in nice and close and just position this about where I want it on that corner. That looks good. Now I'll parent this box to that null object. and set a rotation keyframe right here, right where it's kind of landed. I'll trim the layer to that point and then go forward maybe 5 frames and rotate it until it's flat on the next edge. Zoom in nice and close here. Something about there. And now we've gotten a rotation. Great, now it's a little bit stiff, but it is rotating on the right point. I also might want to have it slide a little bit as it's rotating on this first one to just kind of like continue this inertia from the initial toss. So I'm going to set a position keyframe, separate the X and Y, and get rid of the Y. I don't need to worry about the Y position. It's just going to slide across and maybe land maybe about there. And then I'll ease that. So I'll jump into the graph editor and curve this out so it comes to a nice stop. And it's hardly noticeable, but you can see that the impact starts right here, and then it slides a little bit to here. That looks pretty good. I'll leave it at that. I might bring this in maybe just 1 frame to speed that up. Great. Okay, so now that we have this here, what do? I need it to keep rotating from this bottom right corner, but this is the parent. It's on the bottom left corner. How do I fix that? Well, simple. I'm just going to duplicate this null object, line it up right where it needs to start rotating, shift it forward in time. I don't need the position keyframes. I don't want this one to drift, so I'll get rid of those. And then I just realign that anchor point again to the bottom right corner of the box. So right about there. And now all I have to do is parent this null object to this null object. So I'll grab rotation 1 and parent it to 2. And there we go. Now we've got another rotation. Now it's going further than it needs to, so I need to adjust for that. Holding down Command to adjust this property in smaller increments. There we go. Now my box is rolling twice. So maybe I'll have it roll 2 more times so that it lands on this side. So I'm going to do the same process, duplicate, move it forward to this point in time, and then shift this anchor point over until it lines up at the corner of the box, and parent this null object to that null object. Then I'll adjust the second rotation keyframe. There we go. And I'll duplicate this 1 more time and move it forward. Zoom in nice and close and align this to the bottom right corner. And then finally parent this null object to that null object. And then I just need to adjust the second keyframe so it lands flat on its side. There we go. All right, now if I play this back, got a box that flies in and then rolls. Now the roll needs some easing. Not all of these should be spaced out the same amount. But the bigger issue that I'm seeing right now is that it's landing almost off the screen. I don't want it to go quite that far. So how do I fix that issue? Well, because of my original layer is parented to rotation 1, 1 to 2, 2 to 3, and 3 to 4, that means that I could just grab this one and move it wherever I want, and everything else is going to inherit that transformation. If I just play this back now, you can see that my animation is still happening. It's just shifted everything over to the left. So that's another great use for a null object, is if you've made an animation and it's not exactly where you want it to be, you can just make a null object, temporarily parent everything to it, or anything that's not parented already to it, and reposition the null. Very, very handy there. All right, now that I've got this box rolling, let's work on the easing a little bit. So I want it to obviously slow down as it goes further along. I think this first roll looks good. The second roll is probably good. But maybe the third roll could take an extra frame. So I'll move this one forward, move this keyframe forward. And then on this last roll, I want to make this exaggerated a little bit. So I want it to look like it's kind of like almost not going to tip over and then finally tip over. And to do that, I'm going to add another keyframe. So I'll go into my graph editor, add a frame here, and then make this kind of a shape, like a reverse S. And that's going to make it slow down in the middle and then tip over. So let's play that back. Maybe not have it ease quite so hard. There we go. And maybe what I want to do now is just have it kind of tip a little bit after it hits this last time. And because I have this null right here, which is already positioned correctly and controlling that box, I can just add another rotation keyframe here and then go maybe 2 frames forward, rotate it up just a little bit, and then back down 2 frames again, copy and paste. And I'll ease this one nicely. Give it a nice bell shape here. Bring this one up. And play that back. There you have it. So that's how you can use null objects to really take control of your motion and do something complex like rotating a box on these distorted edges that aren't even right angles. And that's really how I like to think about using null objects. They're for controlling parts of your animations or even parts of After Effects. I mean, I even like using null objects to control 3D cameras. So if I just make a new composition really quick, 3D camera, and let's just say that I type out some text, I'll make it 3D. Nothing complex here, I just want to demonstrate how the 3D camera can be controlled by a null. So I'll make a new 3D camera. I'll leave it as a 1-node camera, and obviously I can, rotate this using the camera controls. And you can get used to these controls, there's nothing wrong with them. You can definitely become proficient at using these, and there are times where I will just use a 3D camera as it is. But let me reset this back to where it was, and instead I'll make a null object. Command Option Shift Y or Control Alt Shift Y. And I'll name this camera controller and parent the camera to that camera controller. Also making sure that that null object is 3D. Now that it's 3D, I can click and drag it around and it's controlling the camera. If I rotate this null object, it's now rotating right from the origin of our 3D world, which is where that text is, it's where that null object was generated. So that's just really convenient for having things line up perfectly. I can, move it around to go in and out. I think it's just a lot easier to animate cameras with a null object this way. And one last way that I like to use null objects is for global controls. An example of that might be this texture on the box and the ground. Right now I'm using an effect called Noise HLS and a couple of other effects to make it look the way that it does. And I also have that same effect stack on this box right here. So if I wanted to have these 2 grains be adjusted in any way, I would have to adjust this noise, maybe make it a little bit bigger, a little bit more contrasty, and then I'd have to go in and do the exact same thing to the ground. So make it a little bigger, add some contrast. But if I were to make a null object, and remember, null objects don't render, that's why I'm choosing this as my layer. I'll name this Global Controls, and I'll select the 2 effects that are making up that grain and copy them, and then paste them on the Global Controls. Now again, null objects aren't rendering, that you don't see any change even though I put these effects on here, but they are there. Now that I have them there, I can select them again and go up to Edit, Copy with Property Links, and then paste that right on top of the existing effects for the ground. So I'll just paste. Now if we look at the effects controls, all these numbers are red, and that means that there are now expressions applied. So if I double tap E to see all of my expressions, see that everything is now referencing this global controls layer that I have right here. So I could do something like turn the grain size down to 1, and that instantly, you see, updates that ground layer. I could change the contrast of these levels and it's affecting that layer. And even though this grain is within a pre-comp, I can do the exact same thing. I still have these copied with property links. So I'll go into here, select those 2 effects and paste. And now that grain is updated. I go back into this comp and I can change this to control both instances of that effect, and they're always going to look the same. So now I can very easily customize this to look however it is that I want it to look. There we go. I like that look. Maybe make it a little bit bigger. Nice and chunky. And there you have another great use of a null object. I can even turn this layer off. I don't need to see it. I'll just keep it at the top of my layer stack so I always have access to it. So there you have it. Null objects are super powerful and they can make really complex things much more simple to manage. Just think of them like controllers for different parts of After Effects, and you'll start to see the benefits pretty quickly. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next tutorial.